What's going on, guys? We're going to be talking about The Strain today, full series review. Now, again, if you guys are not following me on Twitter and Instagram, go ahead and do that because I told you guys why I started watching it. It was something new to me to watch. I did get hurt really badly. I messed up my ankle to where I couldn't walk, so it gave me something new to watch. The series went on for 4 years and was on FX. Now, if you guys are not familiar with it, the story does take place in New York and is basically has to do with a head vampire that goes from Berlin, Germany, that is transported into the United States. And we see where the virus spreads throughout New York City throughout the entire story. We meet dozens of characters, comes from different backgrounds, reasons why um, that the show was actually written so well, and it was actually written and produced by one of the creators of Blade 2 was heavily inspired by the Reapers in that movie, and was able to create the Strigoi, which were vampires in this series, and they originated from Romania because they had 7 different head ancient vampires that was so-called had a truce, and the master that was the main antagonist in the story broke this truce, and he was wanting to create world genocide and create his own image in the world, and he had human collaborators throughout the shows. His second in command, Icorus, which he was turned right after his in charge of the encampment in World War II, or one of the encampments in World War II, since he was a Nazi. And then we had other characters that, such as Abraham Strachan. He was a prisoner in the encampment who knew a lot about Strigoi from his grandmother to being from his grandmother telling him stories about one of the very first ones supposedly, which we got to see that, as well as him being a hunter for so many years. And we got introduced, of course, other characters such as Dr. Goodweather. He was a CDC agent going through a divorce as well as trying to handle time with his son, and he comes across the plane. Everyone has been dead or turned supposedly, and nobody really knows exactly how they got turned, but basically they find out later on it is through the tongue, which is a stinger that if it attaches itself to you, it transfers the worm or worms that goes into your body or your bloodstream. And throughout the story, they've been trying to figure out a way to stop it, or they find a way to kill the disease, transform everybody back. There is no going back once you get turned. The worms go through your system and they spread into other worms. It takes about 72 hours, I believe, to go into the transformation, and then you return, and then you're linked to the master, and the master is able to control you, to see through you. Now, they went through a lot of different stories throughout this entire series, which I'll get into about who my favorite characters were, who my least favorite characters were, what I thought about the story, what problems I had with the story. It was very well written. It was they kept to the origin. They actually had silver in there, which was very shocking that it would weaken them, as well as have issues with sunlight. They had that in there, as well as so many different things. Now, the entire story again was really shocking. I did have problems with they did not put the ancients' history into the actual story. They did to a certain degree, but they didn't go into further detail, which I think they should have, but they didn't, since the 3 main uh, ancients that they had was pretty much they got killed in, like, I think either the season 2, I believe, and then they got destroyed. And we have other characters that does get introduced now. So many characters I think were absolutely amazing. Now, I have 2 favorite male characters and I have 2 favorite female characters. Now, of course, ladies first. I really like Dutch. Dutch was an amazing character. She was always on the go, even though, yeah, she was a computer hacker. She was a survivor. She kept it real. She didn't bullshit around. She was just true. And a lot what I liked her was a lot of her being a smartass, being how she was. She didn't take no crap. And that, yeah, there was times when she was uh, innocent, and there was times where she wasn't. So I really like that character, as well as Nora's character. I like Nora because she was very humane, having to kill her own mother because she didn't have a choice, as well as dealing with everyday life and still dealing with the fact that even though she was killed off, it really upset me because she was actually one of my favorite female characters. And then, of course, we have our male characters. Quinlan was actually one of my favorite characters because he was half Strigoi, half human. His origin was absolutely incredible. It was very close to Blade, that was heavily um, inspired on, I believe, as well as what he went through from being a half breed, um, losing ones that he got very close to in the 1800s, which was really amazing how they put that in there in the last season, which really did go into effect of how he whatever he did. That's why he did not get close to anybody, because he knew if he did, the master would kill them. And same thing with Zez. I think he was a great character as well. He really was an amazing character. He was a great character. He was just a great character, and he was very straight up. He didn't bullshit around. He was always true, and he was one of those characters that you just could go, okay, I could sympathize with this guy. He actually knew how to get shit done. And he was one of those where you're always like, man, I hope this character don't die, because he's just a great character. And there were some characters I did not like. I hated Zach. Everybody did not like him. I know I didn't like him. He was just a real pain in the ass throughout the entire story. He, even though, yes, his parents were going through a divorce and then also finding out his mother got turned, the kid still would not listen no matter what anybody said. Now, I can understand if you lose a family member, especially if it's your mother, but we had two other characters which were grown-ass adults, and it was even hard for them to kill their own mother. We had Nora, she had to do that, and even Gus, he had to do that, and it was more, I don't know which one it was harder on, but it was both extremely hard to watch as a fan and a sympathizer, because if I had to do that, I wouldn't know even I couldn't even do that, because it is extremely hard, and they really did put that in there about if your friend or your family member gets turned, what are you going to do? You're going to like still be there for them, or you're going to let them turn you, or you're going to kill them and put them out of their misery and this suffering. And they actually did put that in there. They also put the issues, which I will later get into, about world genocide, which I will get into. They did put that in there. Dr. Goodweather, I couldn't get into his character. The only time I got really liking this character was, I believe, at season 3. That's the only time I actually got into his character, was like at the end of season 2 to season 3, because his character was very dull. I just didn't care for his character very much, and then at the end of season 2 to beginning of season 3, I actually started liking his character. The ending, I think, was okay of the entire series. They killed off a lot of point characters. Some things they didn't wrap up very well. I think they should have had Gus end up with the one that he started caring about. Also with Rome, I think that was pretty cool what he did, as well as Dutch. And then we had, of course, she hooked up with Zed, and I think that was actually interesting how they put that into the show, because honestly, I would prefer if he would have gotten with, I believe her name was Caroline, I believe, because I think I should think Fett should have got with Caroline, because I think that would have been more great for the story and for aspects of that nature. Also, I believe that they ended it on a good note, because obviously, how could Goodweather still be survived when he had the master in him after being transferred to different bodies? Same thing with Zach. I think his character should have gotten killed off a long time ago. But alas, that's how they did the series. And the series was just one of those things where it's written how it's written, and you take it as it comes, and you just deal with it. And I can say this is the best show ever, or it's the worst show ever, but it was actually a very decent show. There was issues with it, yes, but it was not always a problem. It showed into if there is an actual issue with the world, such as a virus or a weather catastrophe or something. It just shows human nature, that either you're willing to help somebody, or you're helping yourself, or you're just going to rob, steal, loot, and just make a payday. And it showed that in the series. And it also shows it comes to the price. If you do that, what's going to happen if you just look after yourself or certain people, if you don't try to look at the bigger picture. And they showed that in the show, and it's actually true what can happen in the world if something like this happened, or something close to that would happen. So, guys, this is my full series review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Also, let me know your thoughts about the strain. Did you enjoy it? Did you not like it? Did you still have issues with it? Do you think something went unresolved? Even though, yes, one of my favorite characters was killed off, I think that it was uh, great. They did kill him off because it was at the right time. Characters I did not like, I think they should have killed him off a long time ago. But again, it's just the way the writers wrote it, as well as with the story, how the story was written, how the story went, because it went into basically uh, effects, like basically that if good weather was turned and he died, then there was no reason why Nor can still be 11 because of how much she cared about him. And then also with Quinlan, with him being half breed, there was no reason for him being out in the world anyway, since all the Strigoi was being rounded up or killed, which was really stupid. Of course, military, we have, oh, they're going to keep a few around for testing, of course. And then we also had a few other characters that just didn't really, I think, give the offer to the sunset, I guess you would say, for their ending of the story. So, but again, guys, those are my thoughts. It may be a short review of the series. So again, if you guys have not checked out the series, go ahead and do that. It was a great series. I wish it didn't end as quickly as it did, because I got into it really late, and I wish I would have gotten into it when it was all the hype and it was live. But it was still a great show, and I still think that there's great more stories possibly about that, and they could go even further with that. So let me know what you guys think about this again in the comments down below, and I'll be seeing you guys on the next video.